Now, I want to bring in CBC's Brett Ruskin, who has been tracking the story throughout the day with us. He was listening in as the police gave us that update last hour. What more can you tell us, Brett?
Well, Natasha, we heard from police that there are a series of different sites all across the province that investigators and police officers are going to be looking at in the days and perhaps even weeks ahead, because this is an incredibly complex investigation. It began early yesterday or early this morning, around midnight last night, with multiple calls to RCMP about some kind of a gun-related incident. When police arrived at a home in Portapique, Nova Scotia, they found multiple casualties inside of a residence as well as outside, but no obvious gunmen in the area. So they began their search. It eventually expanded to several other communities, being told to stay indoors, stay away from this suspect if they should see them, and to call RCMP because he is armed and dangerous. Here is a quick snippet, a quick clip from that news conference that we just heard. Here is Chief Superintendent for the RCMP, Chris Leather.
I can tell you that in excess of 10 people have been killed, but the investigation is still ongoing, and I expect to have more details in that regard in the coming days. We don't have a complete, we're not fully aware of what that total may be because as we're standing here, the investigation continues into areas that we've not yet explored across the province.
And so again, that death toll stands at least 10 people. And again, they don't know exactly how many the total number of victims is because, again, they haven't perhaps reached all of the different areas, all of the different locations, all the different crime scenes for this shooting, these series of shootings. And so it's just an incredibly complex investigation that is just in the very early stages. Natasha.
What else stood out for you, Brett?
Well, I mean, one thing that definitely stands out that is going to be looked at is the fact that he had a mock RCMP vehicle, a vehicle that he had created that looks almost identical to an RCMP cruiser, like the one that you might see behind me here. And so he also, this was confirmed in that news conference, that he had he had clothing that looked like an RCMP uniform. And so that we heard from Chief Superintendent Constable Chris Leather. He said that indicates some sense of a lack of randomness, perhaps some pre-planning to this, to have a mock RCMP vehicle and RCMP clothing at your disposal. But on the other side of things, there was kind of pure randomness to a lot of these shootings, with no clear link, they said, between the suspect and the victims. And so there is just lots of questions still unanswered as to why this happened, how it happened, the sequence of events, the different locations. Just an incredibly complex investigation, one that I don't think Nova Scotia has ever seen before, at least in terms of death toll, in the vast geography that this manhunt and that these shootings have covered. It really is unprecedented, at least in recent memory here for Nova Scotia, perhaps all of Atlantic Canada, and it's just a day that many Nova Scotians won't soon forget. Natasha.
CBC's Brett Ruskin reporting from Nova Scotia. Thank you, Brett.